The 3rd Regiment California Volunteer Infantry was an infantry regiment in the Union Army during the American Civil War. This regiment was organized at Stockton and at Benicia Barracks, from October 31 to December 31, 1861, to serve 3 years. The regiment was first commanded by Colonel Patrick Edward Connor. After the formation of the regiment at Stockton, 4 companies were sent to Humboldt County during the month of November, 1861. During the month of July, 1862, Colonel Connor was sent, with his regiment, to the District of Utah, in which it was on duty for the balance of its term of service. It spent its entire term of service in the western United States. Its largest engagement was the Bear River Massacre or Battle of Bear River on January 29, 1863 in southeastern Washington Territory. On the expiration of its term of service, the original members of the regiment were mustered out, and the veterans and new recruits were consolidated into a battalion of 4 companies on October 29, 1864, and was afterwards known as the 3rd Battalion of Infantry, comprising companies A, B, C, and D. On December 9, 1865, companies C and D were consolidated, leaving only 3 companies in the battalion. The battalion was finally mustered out July 27, 1866. 3rd Regiment of California Volunteer Infantry Commanders: Colonel Patrick Edward Connor, October 31, 1861 – March 30, 1863. Colonel Robert Pollock, March 30, 1863 – November 14, 1864. 3rd Battalion of Infantry Commanders: Lt. Colonel Jeremiah B. Moore, November 14, 1864 – December 21, 1864. Lt. Colonel William M. Johns, April 6, 1865 – July 27, 1866. Company assignments: Headquarters was stationed in Stockton from the date of organization to December 1861, when it was moved to Benicia Barracks, where it remained until June 1862. During July 1862 it was en route to Fort Ruby, Nevada, where it arrived August 1, 1862. Early in January 1863 it was at Camp Douglas, where it remained until it finally mustered out, July 27, 1866. Company A was organized at Stockton, October 31, 1861, and went to Benicia Barracks in December 1861. It went to Fort Baker, in Humboldt County, California, during the month of December 1861. On April 6, 1862, Captain Ketchum, with a scouting party of Company A, found the ranch area of the Indians that had previously robbed Cooper's Mills of 2,500 pounds of flour near Yeager Creek. The Indians had just fled, leaving 700 pounds of the flour, together with belting from the mill files, baskets, bullets, lead, shot pouches, bullet molds, etc., all of which were burned, there being no means of packing them. On the April 27th, Captain Ketchum, of Company A, returned to Fort Baker from a scout to the southward of Van Dusen Fork, with 24 Indian prisoners, all women and children, except 2 young men. In attacking the ranch area, 4 Indians were killed, including a woman, shot by mistake. During the scout, Captain Ketchum came upon a ranch area which had been fortified by piles of logs around it, but which the Indians had deserted. On the same day, Lieutenant Staples, with a detachment of the same company. On May 7, Captain Ketchum reported 11 Indians came in at Fort Baker, 8 men and 3 women. He sent out 2 of them as runners to bring in as many more as possible, assuring them of protection. During July and August 1862, Company A was en route to Salt Lake City. July 10 it was at Camp Halleck, near Stockton, July 31 at Carson City, Nevada, September 30 at Fort Ruby, Nevada, in February and March 1863 at Fort Churchill, Nevada, and in January 1864 at Camp Douglas. where it was stationed until June 1865. It then went to Denver, Colorado, where it remained until October 1865, when it returned to Camp Douglas, where it was finally mustered out, July 27, 1866. Company B was organized at Stockton, October 31, 1861. It went to Fort Seward, in Humboldt County, California, during the month of December 1861. July 10, 1862, it was at Camp Halleck, near Stockton. From February to June 1863, it was at Camp Union, near Sacramento. June 30, 1863, it was at Fort Churchill, Nevada. During the July 1863 it went to Fort Ruby, Nevada, where it remained until October 1864. It returned to Camp Union, California, where the original members, whose terms of service had expired, were mustered out. The company was then filled up, reorganized, and sent back to Camp Douglas, where it remained from November 1864 to June 1865. It then went to Denver, Colorado, where it remained until October 1865, when it returned to Camp Douglas, and was stationed there until its final muster-out, July 27, 1866. Company C was organized at Benicia, December 31, 1861. It immediately went to Fort Bragg, California, where it remained until the spring of 1862. Then it went to Fort Ruby, Nevada, where it remained until August or September 1863, when it moved to Camp Douglas. It was at the latter post until October 1864. It then went to Camp Connor, in Idaho Territory, returning to Camp Douglas in May 1865, and remained there until its final muster-out, July 27. 1S66. Company D was organized at Stockton, October 31, 1861, and took station at Fort Gaston, Humboldt County. In the spring of 1862 it returned, and was stationed at Camp Union until the summer of 1863. It then went to Camp Douglas, Utah, where it remained until its consolidation with Company C on December 9, 1865. Company E was organized at Benicia, December 21, 1861. During the summer of 1862 it went to Nevada and Utah, and was stationed at Camp Douglas and Fort Ruby until its disbandment by consolidation, November 1, 1864. Company F was organized at Benicia, on December 12, 1861. It went to Fort Ruby, Nevada, in the summer of 1862. In the spring of 1864 it marched to Camp Douglas, where it remained until it was disbanded by consolidation, November 1, 1864. Company G was organized at Benicia Barracks, on December 9, 1861. It remained at Benicia until the spring of 1862. It then marched to Camp Douglas, Utah, where it was stationed until it was disbanded by consolidation, November 1, 1864. Company H was organized at Benicia Barracks, December 12, 1861. During the spring or summer of 1862 it went to Utah, and took station at Camp Douglas. In May 1863, it was at Camp Connor, Idaho, where it remained until it was disbanded by consolidation, at Camp Douglas, November 1, 1864. Company R was organized at Stockton, November 26, 1861. During the month of December it was moved to Benicia Barracks, where it remained until the summer of 1862, when it went to Fort Bridger, Wyoming, remaining there until August 1864, when it marched to Camp Douglas, where it was disbanded by consolidation, November 1, 1864. Company K was organized at Stockton, December 3, 1861. It moved to Benicia Barracks in the same month, and went to Utah with the balance of the regiment during the summer of 1862, and was stationed at Camp Douglas during the remainder of its term of service. It took part in the Battle of Bear River, in January 1863. It was disbanded by consolidation, November 1, 1864.